Hey everybody, welcome back to Worldbuilding with DMDave. Today I wanted to take a break from my main campaign building to show you kind of this new combination of tools and the DMG that I've started doing that I really enjoy. Basically, I can create a random dungeon map using Dungeondraft's Dungeon Wizard, and then using the rules from the DMG for filling contents, actually have it make sense in terms of its layout and the contents of each of the chambers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Dungeondraft. If you don't have Dungeondraft already, it's at dungeondraft.net. I think it's like $25 for a lifetime license. Pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and open up a new document. I'm going to go with I'm going to do 25 by 25 so it fits nice and easy into a Roll20 page. Or maybe I can make a simple one-shot out of it too. I'm going to make sure that my Start with Map Wizard is clicked, and so when we end up going and clicking OK here, and it ends up loading, you'll see that instead of going straight to our tools, it's going to take us to this, which is their Map Wizard generator. Okay, you've got two types of generator: a dungeon and a cave. Dungeons are going to be more of your traditional rooms, mostly square shapes, and you can see that you can choose the just like you would when building an area in Dungeondraft. You have the rooms which you can choose, which in this case I want to choose tile floor, and then I can also change my walls, which it's currently defaults to concrete, but I'm going to go ahead and select stone. And once I'm done with that, I click generate. And if I zoom out, you can see it's made a few interconnected rooms here. Probably want a little bit more than that. So what we can do is we can adjust the boundary, which affects how much of a border there is. I like to do a 2 square border. And we can change the complexity of it and the density. So let's go ahead and try it again. If you click generate, it'll do an all new one. And you can just kind of click generate until you get something that you like. Actually, let's do something. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Maybe make it a little bit more worth the time of our heroes to move through this. I'm going to increase it by 15 in all dimensions, and then we'll do it again. We're going to generate, and you can see we've got a bigger sort of dungeon now. And just keep playing with it until you find something like a combination that you really like. Okay, let's go with this here. I don't want to overthink it too much. Once you're done, go ahead and click finish. Alright, so we've got our dungeon. It's kind of a sprawling, weird blob of different rooms and stuff. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to start dividing it up into chambers. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use our Dungeon Master's Guide appendix, where it shows you the different types of areas that we have in order to create it. Actually, let's go back even further than that. We're going to start in chapter 5, which is adventure environments. So chapter 5 of the DMG is all about creating the adventures that you have. And if you go to page 99, which is the beginning of that chapter, it's going to give you a series of tables that'll help us create. So as normal, I'm going to go ahead and grab a Google document here, which I'm going to use to store my information and rolls, and then I'm going to pull up Google's dice roller just so you guys can see it. Normally I'd just use a phone app or a real dice, but I want to make sure that you're seeing my rolls as they come in. Alright, so the first table is going to be the actual location of the dungeon. That's a D100 roll, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so we've got a 10 it looks like, so it's going to be beneath a farmhouse. Alright, so our dungeon location, as we're rolled, we got a 10 on that table, so it's going to be beneath a farmhouse. Alright, next up on the next page, we've got the dungeon's creator. So let's go ahead and do dungeon creator. We're going to roll for that. Again, this is going to be a D20. 18, which is mind flares. Mind flares aren't SRD, so I'm going to go ahead and say aberrations. Or basically like aliens, which is kind of the niche that mind flares play. Next, it's purpose. 12 is a stronghold. Okay, so it's going to be dungeon purpose, stronghold, and then the dungeon history is one more d20, which is a 13. Creators destroyed by magical catastrophe. Okay, cool. So we're basically creating a location here versus an adventure, and later on we can create an adventure to go with this. But right now I want to kind of create this to have it exist sort of independent of the heroes, and I'm going to do that by taking that map I just created randomly in Dungeondraft. Alright, so here's what we know about it. We know with the dungeon location table that it's going to be beneath a farmhouse. So for some reason a farmhouse has been built over this, either because the farmer knew or they didn't. And this will be important later on, possibly in story development of it. Next, we know that it was created by aberration, so it's possible that it's like aliens from outer space, or maybe something weird from below ground. Which will help us also give kind of an idea of some of the unusual features that we might want to put in. So if we were to use mind flayers, you could use something like, mind flayers tend to have like no corners, round edges, they levitate, so not everything is like, they don't really need staircases and stuff like that, because they can just drift up tubes when they need to. It's a stronghold. So the definition of a stronghold is a dungeon that provides a secure base of operations for villains and monsters, usually ruled by a powerful individual, such as a wizard, vampire, or dragon, and is larger and more complex than a simple lair. Okay? And that's going to be one of our most important factors, because this is going to help us figure out which each of the chambers did. Let's see. And then its history, we know that it was destroyed by a magical catastrophe, which we can kind of figure out as we go along and figure out what the contents are going to be. Alright, so now that we've got that, we've got the map of the dungeon, we really just need to come up with the features. So I'm going to go all the way back to Appendix, let's see, we're going to go to Appendix A, and it has random dungeon tables, and I'm going to go ahead and find, there's a whole section for stocking a dungeon on, if you have a physical copy of the book, it's on page 292, titled Stocking a Dungeon, and I'm going to go to the Stronghold table, which is on 294, and I'm going to start doing some random rolls there. But first, let's actually divide up some of these rooms here so we know what's going where. We know this is over a farm, so I think having the entrance be like maybe in the middle somewhere would be good. So let's go ahead and zoom down. Let's cut off this little area here using our wall tool. So just go to your building tools, wall tool. Make sure that we've got stone to match. Shadows on. We want it to be under the area walls, and that should be good. And we're just gonna seal this off real quick. So that looks good. Okay, cool. So that's our entry area. And let's go ahead and roll to figure out what this area is. And we do that with a D100. Okay, so that's 60. It's a library with an extensive collection of rare books. Okay, so we're going to walk right into a library. That's pretty wild. So we're going to open up our, let's see here. Our objects tools. I'm going to grab some shelves. So just type in shelf and it'll come up with a whole bunch of different things. And basically I'm just going to rotate these into place and get my library going. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe this is like the actual basement of the library or something. I think that might be kind of cool. And for some reason they don't always line up like I want them to. We might even have a secret door in the side here, so that would be kind of nifty. So when you're placing objects in Dungeondraft, you can just hit your right click and it gives it a 45-degree angle. Otherwise you can use the scroll wheel to rotate it by, I think, degrees of 5 or so. There. Alright. There's that. You know what, I think that's good, and we'll leave those as regular doors for now. Let's also put maybe a table in here, and maybe we can even put down a carpet. So we'll put a table, put my snap back on, put a table here in the middle of the room with a chair for reading purposes, of course. Big comfy chair. I'm going to switch it to under so it goes underneath the table we just placed, and then maybe you could put some books on top. And I'll use my scatter tool for this. So if you click on the scatter tool and you select all the different things that you want to click, and then hope it works. We're going to take off snap again too, and we're just going to start. You can see that it randomly places and rotates books. Keeps them the same size though. It's kind of nice. You know what? I'm going to take off the shadow. I think that might look a little better. We'll give a little ink quill too. I think will look pretty good. Alright, cool. So there's our basic, there's our library that we've just created. Remember, this was a totally random roll. And you'll see, like with a lot of the things I do, that you kind of just, you can just kind of start getting ideas for like what you want to build out. I want to go ahead and put a carpet down too. I think that'd be kind of cool to have like a rug in here. And then here we go. Turn our snap tool back on. We could just change the color of the floor to like a nice, you know, we'll make a DMDave's official blurple. And 2CP. Here we go. There we go. That's the official DMDave color. A little bright in here, but that's okay. Yeah. Alright, cool. So here we've got this. Let's make both of those secret doors, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a couple more shelves to hide the existence of where those doors are. Kind of your typical cheesy dungeon. Alright. So the idea is that maybe that's why this is hidden under the farmer. The farmer knew that these creepy people were operating underneath his farm. So we've got our doors hidden here. I don't need to put door icons on them, but if I was, I would go to my portal tool and do that. Okay, so that's our first room in our stronghold. Is this? Oh, you know what we need? We need a staircase, or yeah, we need some stairs. So I've got some extra room right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my building tool, turn my snap back on, and I'm gonna extend this right here, and then I'm gonna grab my wall tool, connect it like so, and then go back to my objects, and let's grab stairs. So this will be our way to get down into the actual basement itself from the farmhouse above. Take a nice simple staircase. We can even give it a little shadow. Let's make it wooden stairs. And there you go. Alright, so now we've got a way into here. So it looks like just a downstairs library. Let's go ahead and save too. I'm going to go ahead and create a new adventure on this. Let's see. We'll call this Hidden Dungeon. So I come up with a better name. Alright. Cool. There we go. So we've got our library. So this is going to be our entrance, our first room in this dungeon with all kinds of like shelves and cool stuff. A couple of secret doors. Alright. Next up, let's start expanding outward from here. We're going to follow the left wall. So left wall, left wall, left wall. I'm going to go south into this room here. I'm going to close off the wall here. And then we'll have this be a room. Let's find out what is in this area here with our D100 roll. Alright, so we've got a 10, which is going to be a banquet room for hosting celebration and guests. Okay. Now these are aliens. It's probably a good idea to kind of figure out what kind of aliens they are, because if they are brain-eating aliens, then they might not have your typical banquet room. In fact, it could be like a place where they store, there's bodies and stuff. Now remember, this place was destroyed by magical creation. This place looks pretty clean over here, so we'll kind of keep it the way it is, but perhaps a wizard's been hiding the reality of this. Let's do this. Let's figure out what kind of aliens that we're going to have in here. I'm going to roll randomly for a alignment. So good, neutral, evil. Alright, so good, and same way, lawful, neutral, chaotic. So neutral, good aliens are down here. So their banquet room might actually have been an actual banquet room. Okay, let's put another table in here then for our banquet. We will go ahead and add in some more chairs. Let's have some more destroyed stuff. There we go. And then we could put another one of those carpets underneath. And I'll put an actual door to get into here this time. So I think just maybe a nice set of double doors would be good there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and section off this. That's basically it. We keep doing this, we go around and we start building out the stuff, and then you'll see pretty quickly that all these things that seem random don't seem random anymore. In the next episode, I am going to continue to build this out and come up with some more ideas. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you've kind of liked this aside to our normal world building with DMDave, and I will see you in the next episode. Anyways, like, follow, and always check me out on patreon.com/DMDave. Thanks.